Here's a few reasons why people don't go to church.
I can't come to church until I get my life together.
Church is how I got my life together.
Church is filled with a bunch of hypocrites.
And there's always room for one more.
All they care about is your money.
They care about me, not about my money.
Is there some kind of dress code?
Yes, the code is wear some clothes.
Church, it just makes me nervous.
I was nervous at first, and then I felt right at home.
I'm not sure I believe everything that you believe.
But you can still belong.
Church is for wimpy, girly men.
You want to say that again?
If you knew me and what I've done, you wouldn't want me.
If you knew me and what I've done, you wouldn't be worried.
You can come to my church even if you were brought up Catholic,
Baptist,
Methodist,
Jewish,
Mormon,
Lutheran,
Pentecostal,
Presbyterian,
Church of Christ,
Southern Baptist.
a little bit of everything and a whole lot of nothing.
See, it's not about a religion, it's about a relationship.
So please, come to my church.
Where nobody's perfect.
Where beginners are welcome.
Where socks are optional.
but grace is required.
Where forgiveness is offered.
Where hope is alive.
And where it's okay to not be okay. Really.
If you've been coming to TAF from the very beginning, you've seen that video before. We showed it one of the very first weeks that we held church here. And it symbolizes where we started, where we're at, and where we want to go. You see, next week, next Saturday, starts a big week for us here at TAF. The We All Have Hope series starts next Saturday. So I thought, what better way to help us prepare for next week to talk a little history, to talk about, again, where we were at, where we're at now, and where we hope to go. So as many of you know, this church started in July of 2014. It started with a few people, not nearly as many as are here today. There were 12 of us that met for 9 months before we ever planted this church. We met almost every week. And we started talking about what we would want a church to look like if we could design it from the bottom up. We wiped everything off the table, and we figured out what a church that we would like to go to would look like. And this church is a result of that. It's a church where everyone is welcome. A church where you can come no matter your background, no matter what you look like, no matter what you wear. How often can you get a pastor on the stage wearing a t-shirt that is self-promoting his sermon title? Doesn't happen very often. But when we started talking about what we wanted a church to look like, we had to do some of the basics. Every church needs a mission and a vision statement and some core values, and those are some of the things you would think would be really, really easy to do. It was a couple months it took us to get through some of these things. And I would ask you what the mission statement is, because you all should know the mission statement, right? So what is the mission statement here at TAF? You all are getting enough today. To present the love and saving grace of Jesus Christ. I say that a ton. It's in almost every email I send out. But that is very simple and succinct that you can tell anyone that you come into contact with. When they say, tell me about your church, It's a place to present the love and saving grace of Jesus Christ. Now, the vision statement, I don't expect you to memorize, and to be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure I have it memorized. I might, but I'm not going to put myself in that position to fail today. So the vision statement, to provide the Piedmont Triad with a Seventh-day Adventist community that presents Jesus Christ to the disconnected in a creative, authentic, and caring environment where everyone can grow to their full potential. That's what we want to do here. We want a place, no matter who you are, no matter what your background, if you are disconnected, that this is a place where you can feel connected. You know, and I remember somebody saying, well, what's it mean to be disconnected? You know, disconnected could be, you could be in church every single week and still be disconnected. You see, a connection is a personal connection, a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. If you don't have that, then you are not connected. See, it's that connection that we need. It's that relationship that gets us to a place to where we can be used by Him. So what are the core values here at TAF? The core values are 5 of them: spiritual growth, authenticity, grace, unity, and cultural relevance. It's the 5 things that I remember as we were sitting as a group of 12 around a table, we had a long list of things that we thought would be good core values, and we all made our own list, and then we calculated which ones had the most votes. And these are the 5 that got the most votes. So one of the ones, and in fact, I'll give Andrea some credit today, authenticity wasn't even on that list. Andrea said, I think we need to add authenticity to the list. And it ended up with the second most votes. So this is an authentic place, a place where you can go and feel that you don't have to put on a game face. That if you're tired, if you've had a long week, if you've been up at the North American Division in meetings all week that started at 9 in the morning and went till 9 at night one day and 8 in the morning till 7 o'clock at night the next day, which was my week, I'm tired. I've been battling a head cold. I'm not tip-top today. But this is an authentic church. A place where even when I don't necessarily feel like being here, I want to be here. So I have a question for you. With all of this said, how are we doing? How are we doing as a church? Are we succeeding? Are we doing a good job? Are we reaching the people that we want to reach? And it's a question I ask myself. It's a question that sometimes I like the answer to, sometimes I don't like the answer to it. Are we doing as good as we could do? No, I don't think we ever get to that point. But are we doing a good job? And I hope that we're doing a good job. I hope that we're able to reach people that other churches may not be able to reach, because that's what we should be trying to do. But as I was in a conference recently down in Florida with Autumn and Riza and Amy, and I were there at an Exponential Church Planting Conference with 5,000 of our closest friends. Ironically enough, it did feel like you were with 5,000 of your closest friends. I heard a sermon by a guy by the name of Albert Tate. And it knocked me off my feet. And probably the most interesting part about that is he wasn't even supposed to be there. He was there as as one of us, as somebody attending. And the guy who was supposed to speak had the flu. So the night before, they asked him, hey, will you mind giving a sermon tomorrow? And he said, okay. It was the opening sermon of the week. And it knocked me off my feet. And ironically enough, the person after him was Andy Stanley. And Andy got up there and said, man, I wish I'd gone first. Because he felt the same way. Albert knocked it out of the park. And a lot of this sermon kind of comes from that. It kind of comes from the message he presented that day. And it was a message based upon Luke chapter 10. And I know I'm not supposed to put this many lines on a screen, but I want to just leave that up there for a while. So let me read this to you. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. And she came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help me. And Jesus replied, Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. And as I thought about that, are we doing a good job here at TAF? Was Martha doing a good work? Was what Martha doing good, preparing a meal for Jesus and the disciples? It was good. But what did Jesus say? There was something better than Mary was doing. You see, we know this story. But sometimes I think we miss the whole story. And I think if you look at this, and if you follow us on Instagram, I've two of these verses I've posted the last several days, just a different version of each one. Because there's so much in these verses. You see, Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be done. I'm distracted by all the work that has to be done before next week, by all the work it takes to keep this church going day after day. It is easy to get distracted by all the preparations. If you find yourself in that position, if you're distracted by all the work that it's going to take by next Saturday, or even during that week, or just the preparations in your daily life, I would say you find yourself in good company, because Martha is good company, but there was something better that was available. And then Martha complains that Mary's not doing her fair share. I find myself in that position sometimes. When I get here early and move all these chairs around and take all the tithe envelopes out and then put all of ours in, and going and carrying towels over here and doing all that stuff, sometimes I feel, why do I have to do it all? Why aren't there others helping? Do you ever find yourself in that position? Complaining that others aren't doing their fair share? Can I just say to you and to me in all reality, don't let yourself get distracted. Don't get distracted in all the preparation. You know what? If the chairs aren't right and the tithe envelopes aren't in there, can we still have church? Yeah. If I walk in 5 minutes before I have to get up here and preach, will everything still run? For the most part. We might not be live streaming, but stuff can get done. Stop worrying and stop complaining that others aren't doing their fair share. And again, I'm talking to myself first and foremost. And I thought it was interesting how Jesus responded. Bless you. Martha, Martha. Now, I don't know about you, but if your parent ever used your name twice, usually wasn't a good thing. It usually meant that you were about to get yourself into some serious trouble. Jesus says, Martha. I like how, I think the Message phrased it, Martha, dear Martha. You see, it's never a good thing when your parent calls you by the same name twice. But then he tells her, don't worry. Don't get upset. You see, what Martha didn't realize, and oftentimes I forget, is that God has it all under control. No matter how much I worry, no matter how much I get upset, God's got it under control. He's going to take care of everything. And then Jesus says there is only one thing that's needed. And it doesn't necessarily say what that one thing was needed was. But let me tell you what it is. The only thing that's needed is a relationship with Christ. That is the one thing that Mary had that Martha was distracted from. Mary was sitting at Jesus' feet, listening to everything he had to say. And I wonder if we ran across Jesus telling stories, which would we do? Would we sit at his feet listening, or would we think, oh, we got to get a meal together? Okay, what do we got in the kitchen? Or would we start worrying about all the details? I think for many of us, we probably would be worried about the details. But the better thing would be to sit at his feet. You see, Mary chose what was better. What Martha was doing was good. What we have done here at this church is good. But just because it's good doesn't mean that there's something better that we can do. You see, when I think about the culture of a church, when I think about church culture here at Taft, I think it's good. Could it be better? Absolutely. And you see, I don't want to be just good as a church. I don't want us to be just good. I want us to be better. I want us to be a place where people don't ever want to miss. People cancel vacations so they can't miss a church service. Wouldn't that be what church you would want to be a member of? You see, next week, we're going to have some people come through these doors, may not look like us, may not be dressed like us, they might not smell like us, they might smell of alcohol, might smell of cigarettes, they might curse like a sailor. Good. I want those people here. Because there will be 8 nights of hope. That's what they need. So when you see that person come into the door, don't judge them. Don't complain that they're here. Don't look at them cross-eyed. If they sit next to you, don't get up and move. In fact, if you see them sit down, get up from where you're at and go sit next to them. That is our job. That is what we need to do, is to introduce people to a relationship with Christ. That is what's better. Make them feel welcome. And we do a good job of that at this church, making visitors feel welcome. But that doesn't mean we can't do better. Some of you may be wondering, some of you may have seen it. How many have seen this? Some of you have even started using it. I've never even talked about it yet. Hashtag TAF for all. What's that even mean? In fact, you might have some swag today. Do you guys like swag? Do you know what swag is? Yeah. So back on that back welcome center, now not all of this is swag, but back on that back welcome center today, you're going to see a couple things. A magnet for your refrigerator that says TAF for all. A magnet for your car that says TAF for all. Now, not everyone's getting the mug, but we do have a mug now. Visitors will be getting it shortly. We've ordered a lot of these. Pretty cool looking mug. But what's TAF for all about? This needs to be a church for everyone, where all people are welcome, and that we are for all people. So if you put that bumper sticker or that car magnet on your car, and you're in the drive-thru at whatever favorite beverage or restaurant you're at, think about paying for the person behind you. And all they're going to see is, as they're sitting behind your car, that you have a magnet on your car that says hashtag TAF for all. They get up to try to pay for their food or drink, and they're going to say the person in front of you paid for it. Person may wonder, well, what in the world is this TAF for all thing about? If they get on Google and search hashtag TAF for all, it will bring them back to our church. It's a way to help to, I want to say rebrand ourselves, but it's a way to help us reach out to the community. If we had Triad Adventist Fellowship as a church on there, people might not think as much about it. But the hashtag TAF for all, people don't really know what that is. And it opens a door to them to find out more. And as people, one of the great things, and I've heard this from several other churches that do similar things, that if somebody gets that, let's say you pay for their meal and that person says on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, so I was in the drive-thru and this person, hashtag TAF for all, paid for my meal. We can search the same hashtag and see that they posted that. And then wouldn't it be cool if all of us then liked their post? The impact it could have on someone else to see, all these other people are liking my post. No one's ever liked my post before. And now all these people, I don't even know who they are liking my post. It's the ability to reach the community even more than what we already do. It's the ability to introduce people to Christ. Which brings me to the name of this sermon, Heromaker. The world loves heroes, don't we? We value heroes. We all want to be a superhero. Not sure, I think I saw David come in. David loves when we play basketball. He has these superhero t-shirts. And when the game gets going really tough, he usually has a shirt on over top of it, and he pulls it off, and it's like Superman or Batman, or I joked Wonder Woman, but it's not really Wonder Woman. And he goes into a different mindset. He goes into superhero mode. I like it when he leaves the shirt on before he gets to that point, because I don't really like it when he goes superhero mode, because he lifts his game to another level. We all like to be heroes. I like to be a hero. Sometimes, in the innermost parts of me, I think of myself as a hero here at TAF. But you know what? If we really want to make a difference in this community, in this world, we need to stop being heroes and start being hero makers. You see, we can impact a lot of people as a hero. But imagine if we all became a hero maker, how many more people we could impact. You see, as a hero maker, I take it all off of me and I give it to someone else. To lift them up, to help them reach their fullest potential. And there's a danger with that. What if somebody else is better than me? What if they do that job better than me? Great. Because if they do the job better than me, that means we're doing a better job at reaching people for Christ. As hero makers, we can grow this church even faster, better, exponentially. And there are 5 commitments as a hero maker. As a hero maker, I commit to thinking with a mindset of multiplying leaders and refusing to put limits on what God can do. Lifting others up, letting others lead. As a hero maker, I commit to seeing leadership potential in others and not being afraid of those who may be better than me. As a hero maker, I commit to sharing what I've learned by discipling leaders and not being satisfied until I've seen it multiplied to the 4th generation. As a hero maker, I commit to blessing leaders by sending them out and not holding on to them. That's a tough one. Because many of you know that when we planted this church, we said that when we hit membership of 120, we were going to plant another church. Our membership is 120. And we're going to wait until after March, this meeting next week, because we got a little bit on the plate, but we've already started talking about the next church plant. You see, I don't want this to be a church of 500 members. I like the size we're at. It's already hard enough. Many of you, I look at you and I'm like, I know I should know who you are, but I don't know your name. Sorry. Some of you come in, and Bob and I were talking about this morning, we come in and we're like, so is it your first time? They're like, no, we've been here a lot of times. Like, sorry. There's too many of you. I need like a name tag before you get in so that I know who you are. But we have to be willing to release our leaders. You see, as one church, we can only reach so many people, but when we become 2 churches, 3 churches, 4 churches, the amount of people we can reach grows exponentially. And the final commitment as a hero maker. As a hero maker, I commit to counting only what advances God's kingdom and not just what increases my kingdom. You see, I want to be a hero maker. I don't want to be a hero. So how do I do that? How do I decide to stop trying to be a hero and to start being a hero maker? starts with helping others have a relationship with Christ. It starts with introducing them to Christ, giving them everything I have inside of me, and then letting them do the work that God has called them to do. Going back to Mary and Martha, what Mary did was good. What Martha did was good, but what Mary did was better. I don't want to just be good anymore, y'all. I want to be better. I don't want to focus on all the things that I have to do in order to have a smoothly running church. I want to introduce people to Christ. Help them build that relationship. And then let them go to introduce other people to Christ. So if you're a leader in this series we have coming up, if you're a volunteer, even if you're not a volunteer, quite frankly, if you're not a volunteer, you might have one of the most important jobs. As the rest of us are running around trying to make sure that the baptismal's warm, or that everyone's getting seated, or that the music artists have their snacks that they want before they sing, or that the lyrics are going to be right. If you are here just sitting, you may have the most important job. That's being with others, sitting next to somebody, making them feel comfortable, helping to introduce them to Christ. You see, as much as I deep inside crave the credit, I would much rather be sitting out there. I would much rather spend the time loving people. So who can you encourage? Who can you mentor within this church? Every single person needs to mentor someone else. Every person needs to encourage someone else. Need to equip them. Who can you make into a hero? You see, in order to be a hero maker, you have to help someone else be a hero. As we're at lunch today, or as you're sitting there thinking about it, who here can you be a hero maker for? Who here can you make a hero? Because, quite frankly, if you don't, they might not become one. If you don't fulfill your role as a hero maker, they might not become a hero. And if they don't become a hero, they won't become a hero maker. You see, that's how it works. You create a hero, they become a hero maker, they create heroes, they become hero makers, so on and so forth. So I just pray that as you sit there, that as you think about that deep inside your heart, that one, you want to become a hero maker, and that you then think about who it is that you can lift up. Be like Mary. Seek what is better. Sit at the feet of Christ. Hear what he is telling you, and then share it. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, I just want to thank you for the fact that you are the ultimate hero maker. That it was you who took 12 untalented, unequipped people, and you turned them into heroes so that they could then share your message and become hero makers to others. I thank you for what you have done for us, have done for this church. Lord, I just ask your blessing as we move forward to this series, that those who come will come with open minds and open hearts, that they will feel your love here, that they will hear a message of hope, and that they will want to have a relationship with you. In Jesus' name, amen. I also thought, what better way